POLO Toronto, Miss Maria Lourdes Reyes.
Thank you, Sol. Maraming salamat and good evening to everyone. On behalf of our labor attaché, the head of the Philippine Overseas Labor Office, or what we call POLO Toronto, labor attaché Rachel Susobrado Nagayo, it is my pleasure to welcome you back to the third part of our Career Pathways Seminar. And we also welcome back our resource speaker, Ms. Jane Mendita. As mentioned by Saul, this seminar is the third part of the Career Pathways Seminar, the first and second parts of which we have conducted in the previous months. In the previous sessions, we learned, as mentioned by Saul, transferable skills. We learned the importance of self-awareness and self-analysis. We appreciated the need to assess ourselves, our capabilities, our skills, and even our weaknesses, or what we may call areas for improvement. Our speaker generously shared with us strategies to improve our competence and qualifications. We also learned the importance of actively looking for work opportunities, as this information will guide us when exploring our career options. This third session, job searching, this will be greatly relevant and beneficial, especially to our workers who possess an open work permit, since an open work permit does not restrict you to a specific job and or employer. The knowledge and skills to be gained from this session will prove valuable in exploring different job positions and expanding your career options. Before I give the floor to our resource speaker, allow me to express our sincerest appreciation for sharing her time and expertise with us tonight. For those who are not able to join us the last two times, please bear with me, but I would like to reintroduce again Miss Jane Mendita. She is a career development practitioner with more than 10 years experience in career and employment counseling. She helps clients clarify their employment and career goals so that they can make informed decisions regarding their next steps and in their careers. She also helps streamline job search processes so that clients do not have to go around in circles when searching and applying for jobs. Ms. Jane is currently working for JVS Toronto, a not for profit employment agency offering employment guidance and support to clients from diverse backgrounds. JVS is funded by the government, thus, its services are free. She holds a career and work counselor postgraduate diploma from George Brown College with honors and a certificate in instructing adults from the same school. Miss Jane has a bachelor's degree in English, recognized in Canada, with some postgraduate education with courses leading to Masters in Public Administration and Masters of Arts in Teaching. Among her accomplishments included receiving the Employee Excellence Award for 2020, given to staff who displayed exceptional commitment over the past year in the areas of respect, excellence, integrity, and collaboration. She has developed partnerships with professional immigrant associations by offering group mentoring programs. She coached and mentored more than 100 clients seeking guidance in job searching, changing careers, or even in exploring business options. She planned and delivered workshops such as job search workshops, like this one, interviewing, increasing confidence, and other related workshops within and outside the organization. We have been very lucky and fortunate to have partnered. Polo has partnered with Polo Toronto has partnered with Jane Mendita for. I think this would be the fourth workshop. The first one being an in-person before the pandemic, and the last two was both virtual workshops during the past months. Again, thank you, Miss Jane, for sharing your valuable time and expertise. And I'm exceedingly glad to welcome all our attendees to this virtual workshop session. Thank you and good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Ma'am Maria Lourdes, and thank you so much for Chris and Mirasol and Sir Chris and Mirasol and the rest of the staff of Polo. Is my voice clear? I just want to see if okay, sounds good. Because and those are the dogs in the neighborhood. If ever you hear some of those barking. Okay, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Nakakapanibago kasi maganda yung ano sa labas maliwanag. The last time it was very dark, right? So thank you so much for joining. I hope this workshop when I created for JVS is being delivered by two facilitators. One that's me and the other one is Rebecca. And I'm not gonna show you all the slides. I'm just gonna go into slides that are relevant to today's meeting. But I find that there are a lot of information here, and it's gonna be very, very heavy in terms of content. So I hope that if you have questions, please feel free to ask questions. I'm gonna show you my slides later on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be showing from one slide to a website and so on, just to give you a better what I usually like is to demonstrate what I do so that you can have better awareness and understanding of how we do the job searching, right? So again, feel free to ask questions just in case you have some questions along the way. Let me just share my slides with you. Where did my taskbar show? Okay, now where did it go? 1 second. I am looking for the okay, so you will see this is actually the official website that workshop that I did for JVS. So I created this workshop for JVS and we're delivering this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it short because this is 2 hours and 30 minutes. And then I didn't want to go that long, right? So I'm just going to go through each of the sections that are relevant to today's workshop. So I would normally do a poll here. So probably if I'm not sure how many participants, so I think we have about 14 participants in the room. Just to have a little conversation, maybe if you could type in the chat what you'd like to learn from the workshop, that would be good. What would you like to gain out of this workshop? That would be good. Or how are you feeling tonight, right? I didn't want to go in through all the introductions already. Just type in the chat and so that everyone will know you, get to know you. Number one, the reason why I say let's get to know each other is that when we think about job searching, we think about networking. And in Canada, networking is especially very important when you're job searching. Now, this is different from the networking that we know from the Philippines, because networking is more like we have a different connotation of the word networking in the Philippines. But in Canada, networking is a way for us to get through to the next person, having information interviews with professionals in your field, getting connected through LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, but in a professional way. And we call that networking here in Canada. And this is all focused onto professional development and professional growth. And that's why this is your opportunity to get to know each other. So as coming from our culture, meron na po tayo nito sa atin. Like, we used to get to meet people and nagkakakilala tayo. And then usually sasabihin nila, it's not who you know, it's not what you know, but whom you know. Karamihan yun ang sinasabi nila pag nagja-job search. But I want to put it in a better light, a positive light when we're job searching, right? And so that's the reason why I say get to know people and get to learn about the industry you want to work in, and get to know people who are already professional and working in the field, because they will be able to help you with what's happening in the labor market and what's happening in your particular field, right? So feel free to jot down your names in the chat board. I would suggest, say hi. because this is your chance to introduce and get to know each other. And thank you so much from Mayor Salsa sa Malu, Ma'am Malu, sa inyong introduction earlier. Okay, so I'm gonna go on now. So we are all in this together. Now it's the pandemic. I would even say we're still within that. We're not out of the tunnel yet. I mean, so we're all in this together. We are in a supportive learning environment. Just a quick reminder, as you're doing now, to just turn off your mics. If you wanna turn on your cams, that's fine too. If not, that's okay too. Then you could type your questions in the chat. Okay, now we're seeing Lydia. Thank you, Lydia and Isa. Nice to see you here. You can also ask questions later on. Just in case I get kicked out of the room, I'm gonna come back. Yun ang beauty ng virtual. You can always pop in and pop out of the meeting, right? And I'll be switching from PowerPoint slides to the Google website. So I hope, and I'll do it as seamlessly as I can so that you won't get confused, right? There's a survey. No, don't worry about the survey. I won't ask you about the survey in the workshop. So we are going to talk about online job search strategies, right? So when we talk about online job search strategies, I'm going to give you introduction to job search online. So nowadays, we are all online, and it's kind of hard to job search in person already, the traditional way of job searching. So now we have what we call virtual job searching, right? So we're going to talk about how to conduct an online job search. Probably have a little tip, a little break, hopefully just a little, and then we'll move on. We'll talk about some information about the ATS and your resume. I might not be able to finish all about resume, but I'll give you some tips. If you need more tips, then I'll direct you to a website, or you could talk to me one-on-one later. Then some additional tips in job searching. I hope by the end of this workshop, you will be able to utilize some of the tools that I'm going to share. So this is now the new world of work, right? Searching online is the new world of work, and people working remotely, although there were about, let's say, 20% of some of the 100% of people working were working remotely long time ago. They're called telecommute at the time, and now it's called remote work, right? And so this is what's happening, especially for those who are non-essential workers. People are already working remotely. Okay. Hi, Tranquilina. Nice to see you here. And so good to talk to you, to have you all. Okay. So what is job search online? Let's kind of think for a few minutes. What were your experiences in job searching online? What are some of the things that you have experienced when you are submitting applications online? So I learned from Ma'am Malu earlier that some of you have open work permits, right? So if you are looking for a job, let's say, for example, not today, maybe, or have tried looking for a job, what was your experience? Or can you tell me about your experience in job searching online? Is there anyone here who would like to share his or her experience? Anybody would like, please feel free to talk. You're welcome to talk. Maybe I'm gonna ask, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna ask maybe one of you, let's say Lina Manceras, right? Hi, Lina. Are you there? Would you be able to share?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Kumusta? Anong
Okay.
experience po ninyo sa pagganap ng trabaho online?
Actually, hindi pa po ako naghanap ng trabaho online because when I received my open work permit, that was that first time that the COVID strike all over.
Aha.
Yeah, that's why I am now continue working as live-in caregiver.
And did you plan to go and look for another job outside your work right now?
For now, I don't have plan yet because
Okay.
my open work permit is just 1 year because this is only the open work permit under vulnerable worker.
Vulnerable
Like
workers.
extension for my like work permit before.
Right,
So
right.
yeah.
Right. That's good. That's good too, because this workshop will be something that will be, I will not say might, but will be valuable to everyone, because whether you are considering to look for a job, you will be able to open your eyes in terms of what are the jobs out there and how are you going to search, because it gives you strategies, right? How to do an effective job search. Okay, so if you want to know about that, we will talk about being effective in your job searching. In the first two workshops, I talked about, as they mentioned earlier, about assessing yourself and knowing what you can offer. And if you have done your research for jobs outside your field, or even jobs that are very much related to your field, for example, the PSW, right? By the way, magpla-plug lang ako, ha? I'm not sure how this will affect you, pero kagaya kanina sabi ni Mama Luna, meron yung 90,000, they are giving yung pinapabilis nila yung processing ng papers para maging permanent resident, because there are a lot of jobs in healthcare right now. May bagong program ang Ontario where you get to train again as for those of you who don't have training and might have had training, merong libreng training ang PSW, right? And there are a lot of homes right now who are needing PSWs, and even in the hospitals right now, nakita nyo sa ICU, we have reached the maximum capacity, which is 835 beds are in the, ng people are in, like say, those who are affected by COVID na nasa ICU ngayon, right? So they are really in need, Ontario is really in need of healthcare workers. And so they probably have trainings after that. So kung hindi, check it out. For sure, there are a lot of news out there. And of course, JVS and other services will be helping those who are also planning to apply for these jobs. And then we might be able to get some partnership with other organizations. Yung mga naghahanap talaga ng, kagaya nito, meron kaming job developer na meron siyang kakilala na elderly home na naghahanap ng mga PSW. So tinutulungan namin yung mga gustong maghanap ng trabaho sa PSW na makapasok sa mga ganoong trabaho. It's just something that you might want to explore later if you haven't accessed yung mga services na yun. And even if you are still within your previous work, and as long as you have an open work permit, and you want to access these services, please feel free kasi libre naman yan, right? At saka you don't have to pay anything. I just want to let you know that there are services out there for you that you can access, even if you're even a live-in caregiver right now with an open work permit, you can access. Kaya tinitignan din namin yung may SIN na 900 ang start. You're all eligible for that program. Anyway, so let me go on, and thank you so much for sharing, Lina. Let me move on, just to keep to keep on with the time. So did we know that, or did you know that every time na may nag-a-apply or may open na jobs, there are about 250 applicants, right? So in reality doon, let's say for example sa Toronto, we have about ilang tao nag-a-apply sa isang trabaho, 250 ang according to survey, in one job posting, there's 250 people who apply, and there's only one in reality na i-hire nila, right? Only one gets the offer. Now, how are we going to be that one person? Or maybe how do we go through being an interviewee for this particular position? So we talk about how can we be more strategic in our job searching, right? So I kind of coined this how do you say, definition of what is job search online. So job search online is the act of looking for employment through technology or online tools with an immediate goal of obtaining a job interview with an employer, which may lead to getting hired, right? So there are a couple of 4 words that are mentioned here. And Isa, we will talk about that, the Ielts and CELPIP later. So we'll address that at the end, right? So when we talk about job searching online, there are 4 words that I'd like to emphasize. So the first one is job searching online is an act. When I say it's an act, it's it includes an action, right? We have a dream of getting into a certain job, but if we don't really do anything about it, then what's going to happen is we're going to be there forever, stuck where we are, right? So it's an action. You need to have also a research. So earlier in the previous workshops, I said you need to do a research of yourself, evaluate yourself. But the most important thing as well is to research the companies, research what's out there for you today, right? If you want to apply as an a PSW, what are the jobs? How many jobs are there open for PSW? Actually, there's if you have an open work permit and you want to work in the healthcare sector, it doesn't have to be PSW, right? You could even work as an admin assistant in a hospital, in a healthcare setting, right? All those kinds of jobs. So you want to explore what is open for you based on the skill sets that you have. So if you're a nurse, maybe you can do something else as well, right? Not only as a PSW. Okay, it also involves technology. Nowadays, there's a very high use of technology, especially now that we're all online, right? So there's virtual, everything is virtual. So we have Facebook. People get jobs through Facebook. LinkedIn is the number one thing that you need to have an account of. So you need to build your LinkedIn profile, especially if you want to get to know people in the professional field. So we say it's the Facebook of the professionals, right? LinkedIn. And also, of course, Instagram. People are already posting jobs on Instagram, right? So one of the recruiters, yung CEO nga ng recruiter, sabi niya, do not self disqualify yourself. You wanna, kahit na you're not qualified, try because it's an opportunity for you, right, to explore. And the other thing is you need to have a goal. It's so hard to look for a job if you don't have a goal. So the first thing that you need to have really when you're looking for a job is to have a goal, and all the rest follows. And even when I say this, I remember I think I told you a story when I first started. I said, well, I used to be back in the Philippines. I used to teach as well, right, in the university, and I always wanted to be a facilitator. So when I attended a job search workshop in Canada, there was a facilitator, and I was sitting on the other side of the table. And I was thinking to myself, and I said, what kind of job is this person doing? I really want her job. Like I want to be like her. So I would say 5 years after attending the workshop, I met my facilitator in one of the services, and she said, Jane, we are now colleagues. And you know what? After that, that was 2005, 2010. Yes, I started crying because now I became a facilitator, and I saw her, right? And so as newcomers in Canada, whether you are an open work permit or permanent resident, a convention refugee or a refugee claimant, we're all newcomers. We're all new immigrants, right? And there's a lot of disconnect happening because of a new culture and a new environment, right? So maraming nangyayari doon. Kaya maganda na magkaroon tayo ng goal at saka i-research natin ang sarili natin at saka yung outside market in Canada, because we need to really open our minds into what's happening out there. That way, we get a better view of ourselves, and our self-confidence will increase because we know that we're competent, right? And the reason I always come to this kind of services, I really like sharing this because I want us, you also to have your own, to feel confident of what you have, right? And what you can offer. There's a lot of things happening out there. Okay, anyway, here are the things that you need to do when you are starting your job searching. Ano yung mga dapat mga steps, right? So the first one is to identify your target. You need to have a goal. Ano yung target mo? Let's say you don't want to be working today, but where do you see yourself 2 years from now? What is your goal 2 years from now, or 3 months from now, 6 months, 1 month, 1 year from now, right? You want to identify the target. You want to create a powerful marketing campaign. Remember, we part 1 and part 2, after knowing about your skills and knowing who you are and what you can offer, that's the time you can create your value. What value can you offer out when you're going out there to look for work? What value can you bring? Because employers will be asking, what can you contribute for my organization? What value can you bring, right? Tell me, what can you do for me? And that's why I always say, think about the value that you bring to an organization, and And valuing the skills that you have will bring up your confidence and your competence and your confidence as well. Conduct an in-depth research. That's the next step. Research about the organization you want to work for, right? Don't just apply because the job posting seems to be a very good match for you. What if they offer you a very good deal, but then it's somewhere in the Yukon, right? Or maybe it's something where you need to work 12 hours straight for 3 days, right? Probably that's not something you want to get into. So you want to do your research about the company and the job posting, and you want to network effectively. And this is the first thing that I said. You want to do this even before looking for a job. Start networking, attend workshops just like what you're doing now, and get to know people, right? So that you get introduced to those who are working in the field, right? Do you do an interview, practice interview, mock interview. You want to stay motivated and organized. You want to have a tab, how do you say it? A table, create a table of the jobs you've applied for. What are the skills needed? What are your gaps? What skills are needed for you if you don't have skills? For example, I see nowadays here in Canada, yung mga architects, when they come to Canada, especially those who had been in the field for a while, mga bago-bagong architects coming from the Philippines, they already know Revit. Some of them are just using AutoCAD, right? Pero ngayon, ang in ngayon sa Canada is Revit. So, do you have those skills? Kung wala ka nun, anong gagawin mo to get into that, right? Or you don't have OBC, Ontario Building Code. So, kung wala ka nun, hinahanap ng employer nun, anong gagawin mo, right? So, I said, that's what I mean to say in when I say, when I'm saying you wanna address the gaps, take micro-credentials. Yun ang uso ngayon. When we say micro-credentials, I think I mentioned this long time ago, you can get it through Udemy and IDX and also Coursera, small credentials where you can join for free, right? And then you wanna negotiate at the end kapag ka na-offer ka na ng job, you wanna negotiate the offer, right? And then you wanna, of course, access social media to job search as well. So these are some of the steps that you can do. I am going to share with you a video. Let me just share my sound. And let me play.
Internet has become an essential part of any job search. There are countless websites that allow you to search for job postings and upload your resume online. Make the most of the time you spend searching online by using job search engines and job alerts. Job search engines collect job listings from hundreds of websites so you can view them in a single place. As with any search engine, you may have to experiment with search terms to find the most relevant results. You can also save time by creating a job alert. A job alert is a summary of new job postings from a specific search that is sent to your email. Receiving only a few job listings each day will allow you to see the latest opportunities without having to sort through a long list of search results. When employers need to fill a job opening, they can search through online job boards to find a candidate that fits their needs. Making your resume available by posting it online can increase your chances of finding a job. However, if you're job hunting and currently employed, you may want to avoid posting your resume. If your employer finds your resume, it could possibly lead to termination. Not every job posting you'll find is genuine. Fake postings are an attempt to steal money and sensitive information from job seekers. Always remember to exercise your best judgment online, especially when searching for a job. Searching for employment online has made it easier than ever to discover new opportunities. When you use these powerful resources, you put yourself one step closer to landing your next job.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
So Goodwill Community is also a free website that you can access, and you could see a lot of things in GCF Learn Free. right? So that's something. So in terms of, again, there are also scams out there. Be careful. Because of the onset of the internet and virtual jobs and remote jobs, natural merong mga scams. So ingat kayo sa scams, because I've had clients who had been almost scammed. Kasi one client applied for a job and he was offered the job immediately. Tapos binigyan ng pera agad. So nagulat kami. And I said, you have to return the money. Otherwise, what's gonna happen is merong mas malaking problema after that. So yeah, there are scams out there. So be careful. Again, in terms of online job searching, even though most of the people are now online, see to it that we have what we call netiquette, right? Meron tayong netiquette. And I can't stress this enough. A lot of people, lalo na sa Facebook, tas nagja-job search ka, right? And then they will see negative postings about you. Ngayon, ang mga employers naghahanap ng mga candidates, ginugoogle nila yung mga candidates. Hinahanap nila yung pangalan. If they find something negative about you sa Google or maybe sa Facebook or something, then it might have a negative effect on you as well. So always take care of your reputation when you are job searching online. See to it that there's nothing negative about you when you have when you're posting things, right? Avoid slang. It's not texting. It is, see to it that you're always nice in your texts, and sometimes nagkakaroon ng miscommunication sa text, so make it clear as much as possible, even if you are sending messages sa messenger or sa FB or sa, how do you say it, LinkedIn, because you can now message people through LinkedIn, right? Review for when you're sending resumes, of course, yung review for grammar and spelling. So how do you conduct job search online? There are a couple of tips that we came up. Paano ka mag-job search online, right? What are some of the tips? So the first tip that I'd like to share is to narrow down your search. So when we say narrow down your search, it means refining your search. You want to refine your search in a way that hindi masyadong overwhelming ang information na makukuha mo, right? So how do you narrow your search? So we will talk about this one by one. The first one is there are what we call job search engines, job boards, and niche websites, and also company websites, right? There's also the use of filter within the job boards and job search engines, the use of Google tricks, or we call it Boolean search. And then we also have the next one, which is being creative with the job titles and using hashtags or the @ symbol, right?
Where are you going?
For what? So if you don't mind, also
But I'm
muting
still in the phone. Like,
your mics.
I'm not in the camera.
Please mute your mics because it's coming through. Okay. So let me continue. So how do we narrow down your job search? The first one is we want to look into the job search engines and job search boards. So when we say job search engines, we talk about the larger job search engines like Google, Indeed, Monster, and Glassdoor. They're called aggregators. So when we say aggregators, ito yung mga kinukuha nila lahat ng mga jobs from different postings, right? And they put them all in their website. And then that's why when you look for a job posting from Glassdoor, you will see also an opening in Indeed, and you will see an opening in Google, and you will see an opening in LinkedIn, because they are called aggregators. They get all the jobs from every site, right? So it's everywhere. They're called aggregators. The other kind of website you want to look into would be the niche websites. So when we say niche websites, ito yung mga websites na nakafocus sa inyong career. So if you are in IT and you want to look for a job in IT, meron tayong tinatawag na IT website job postings lang. Meron silang job board solely for IT. If you want to work in the nonprofit organization in Canada, then we have Charity Village, and also we have Charity Village, and we also work in nonprofit and settlement@work.org. Now, when we talk about nonprofit, so I want to talk about this a little just to give you how it works in Canada. Kasi dun sa Philippines, when we say NGO, parang we're not so familiar with what NGO does in the Philippines. They are very, very, in the Philippines, maganda yung ginagawa ng NGO. They help, right? Communities. In Canada, there are different kinds of NGO, and sometimes and when we say NGOs, non-profit, not for profit, and not for profits. Yeah, we call them not for profit, kagaya ng JVS, na we are funded by the government and we offer services for the community. So it's the same way with other, like for example, Red Cross is a non-profit, not for profit organization. A not-for-profit, an educational academe could come in as a non-profit organization. It depends, and right? Because where their funding is coming from. And the services are for the people, like job search workshops, maybe small business enterprises. Meron po tayo ng mga ganoon dito na nakakatulong sa inyo. If you want to start your own business, there are small business enterprises as well that can help. Right? So ito yung role ng not-for-profit dito sa Canada. And there are jobs there, like facilitators like me, employment counselors, teachers, daycares are under some daycares, like for example, those who are offering as a teacher sa daycare. If you want to apply as a childhood assistant, parang sa languages department, for example, right? Nag-offer ng noon kasi meron dati open sila when you go to school. Merong childcare assistant na non-profit ang dating, right? So yung mga nakikita natin sa labas na corporate jobs, there are also those in the non-profit, right? Just to give you an idea of what not-for-profit jobs are. And then we also have the company site. So these are the three main websites you want to go and look for jobs. I mean, to find jobs in, right? So when you're doing your research, when you say company websites, which is something that I always highly recommend, the first thing you need to do is to go to the company website, right? Mas nagiging focus ang search. What I do is I do a Google, and then when I look at the name of the company, I look at the company, I go straight to the company, and I'll explain that in a few after a few slides. So these are just the websites about the ones that I mentioned. Okay, so the next one is search job titles using the advanced filter. So the first one was looking into the job search engines, job boards, and company website. The other one is using a filter or the advanced search. So if you look at this one, this is a anatomy of a job search website, right? Kagaya ng Indeed. I got this from Indeed. On yung green bar na yan, yung green na bar nakalagay advanced search, pag i-click mo yan, bababa yan. May mga filters, right? And this is a search bar, the blue one. Also the filters would be into if you're looking for a job that's remote, when was it posted, the date, how many kilometers are you willing to travel, yung salary, job type, location, company, at saka experience level. Right? So ito yung mga filters, or ito yung mga nakalagay sa advanced search. Tapos yung SERP, yan yung tinatawag na search engine results page, where you will see the results of all the job postings, right? And then the job alert. So if you have a job alert from Indeed, that's good too. Now, why am I sharing this? It's because when you do your job searching, you need to be very, very how do you say it? Strategic in your approach. In order to be efficient, you want to use the advanced search filter. So here's an example of while I was searching for jobs, right? An example where I just used Google, and then I went to Indeed. And I saw that with just the administrative assistant position, if you could see from the window, this is an administrative assistant, nakatype yan dyan sa may what, right? And there are about 22,552 jobs. Ang first thing that we would say is, wow, amazing, and daming trabaho. But the question is it for me? Is it the job that you're looking for? So it's overwhelming, right? Maybe you would say, hindi ba mas marami, mas maganda? In a way, it's not the best or the most effective way. So how to be effective. So what you want to do is to do the advanced search. So what I did here is I did an advanced search, and from 22,000 right? From 22,000, it went to 79 because I was very, very specific as to what kind of job I was looking for. I wanted to look within 25 kilometers, new 14 days. Wag masyadong late kasi pagka mga 30 days wala na fill in na yung kahit na nandyan pa yan, na fill in na yung position, right? I don't care so much about the salary because we already know the salary range usually, right? So the first thing that I would find is the location. Is it a remote location or will I travel 25 kilometers? How am I willing to travel, right? So maybe pagka natapos na ang I hope and we really are praying that this pandemic will be over soon, that everything will be back, not necessarily to normal. It's going to be a new normal, I would say, but jobs will remain, remote jobs will remain the same. However, there will be jobs where you will have to travel, especially for the essential workers, right? So that's just my hope. And so why am I saying this is because how willing are you to travel from one location to your place, from your place to another location, right? The other thing is the Google sites is a very good place to look for jobs, but there's what we call advanced search for Googles. They do have also an advanced search sa Google. Look at yung na yellow na highlight, any country, anytime, any result. Kaya lang masyado pa rin malaki yan. Pero may technique ang Google. Ito yung mga tips. And they're tips. Ito yung tinatawag na Boolean research, right? Or Boolean search. Trying to use the Google search tricks. So what are some of the tricks that you can use? So the first one is using let's first look at the quotation marks at the end of the job, of the word administrative assistant jobs Toronto. So if you put in administrative assistant tapos open and close quotation marks, lalabas lahat yan puro administrative assistant, nakafocus lang sa word na hinahanap mo. But I usually add jobs and Toronto because you want to have an administrative assistant located in Toronto if you're located in Toronto. Pero if you're located outside Toronto, then of course you want to put that particular location. And it gives you more focused search. The next one is, well, the asterisk. Here it was just an exercise, example that I gave you, which is the asterisk is the role of the asterisk is to look for a missing word, right? And it's guessing. So for example, this is a lyric of a song, come, but we don't know what's coming of what's the next word from come, after come rather, then you put an asterisk and then right now and then asterisk and then me. So it gives it guesses the word for you. So if you're looking for a job, probably would say administrative asterisk job and then Toronto, right? It will fill in a particular word that you're looking for. So that's the use of the asterisk. The next one is the use of the plus sign. So the plus sign is if you're looking for jobs plus, put again the title, the job title, for example, bookkeeper, and then maybe in Oakville and then Ontario. And then it focuses really directly to the same jobs only. Hindi masyadong malawak yung hinahanap niya, right? Nagiging mas specific yung lumalabas na result from Google. And then the other one is something that I encourage you to do is to do a market research, a labor market research. And so when I say labor market research, you want to write down, for example, the city, right? And then you write down labor market, tapos yung occupation mo. Let's say, for example, PSW, and then you will see that maraming lalabas na mga jobs. What's happening? Kung ano yung jobs na open. And I'll probably show you how it looks like later, right? Ontario labor market and then your occupation. I'm going to give you an example later, right? So the next one after that is once you know the Google tricks, okay? So the next one is to, of course, be creative with the job titles, right? So this is the third one. Be creative with the job titles. Don't just look for administrative assistant. Maybe you could administrative receptionist or support and so on, because terminologies change, right? And you have to remember that each employer is unique. So ibig sabihin, pag unique ang employer, it means that their job posting na, let's say, ang trabaho na hinahanap na pinost nila is administrative assistant, which is sa isang kumpanya, receptionist, right? Sa isang kumpanya, secretary ang title. So titles change. So don't be too tied up with the title, because titles change. You want to read the job description, and you want to read the responsibilities and the requirements of the job, and you will find that they might be similar. The roles might be different, but the title might be different, but the role might be similar, right? So, and be creative by adding in a certain skill. For example, mechanical designer. When you're looking for a mechanical designer job, mechanical designer, ilagay mo lang dyan sa pag-search mo. It's gonna come up with a lot of mechanical designer jobs, but you're not sure if that's the job that you're looking for. So if you have a SolidWorks, add in a skill. Add in a skill, for example, SolidWorks plus Jobs plus Toronto, and it will come up, right? Another tool that you can use is the NOC tool, the National Occupational Code, which a lot of you are using right now because of your particular roles or jobs, right? We use the NOC to identify different kinds of roles. Because in the NOC, it will give you different titles like this, right? Like administrative clerk can be called also an aircraft if you are in the aircraft or in the aviation industry. File and classification clerk might be another title. Filing clerk might be another title. General office worker, general office clerk, medical records clerk. So all these clerks and administrative jobs are all clerical jobs. And don't be confused. Kasi tingnan nyo, meron pang receptionist. So yung sa atin sa Philippines, we call them secretaries, right? But in Canada, they're called receptionists or admin assistants. Ang pagkaalam natin sa Philippines, hindi ko naman nila lahat. Sa akin, my own understanding at the time when I was in the Philippines, pag sinabi sa akin na receptionist is somebody who is receiving, nandun sa receptionist. I was thinking about maybe of a hotel, and then there's a lady or a guy or somebody there, and I call that person a receptionist. But here, yung mga nasa hotel, they're not just receptionists, they're called agent, right? Customer service agents, they're called sales agents, they're called administrative supports, right? And yung receptionist namin dito, for example, sa JVS, we call them receptionists, but their roles are actually admin assistants. So what do they do as a receptionist and admin assistant? They take in people, they take in the information of yung mga nagbibisita, tapos they file sa aming data system. They do lots of filing. So hindi lang reception, hindi lang tumatanggap, right? They are doing a lot of admin work. So for example, now this is very important. So for example, you want to shift from, let's say in the Philippines, you used to be a teacher, or you used to be a nurse, and you want to be an admin assistant here. You probably would say, well, I don't really have any administrative experience. Now, you want to think carefully if you have administrative skills. And what are some of the administrative skills? Filing is an administrative skill. The use of computer, which is, and Microsoft Word, Office, Excel is an administrative skill, technical skill. Filing, documentation, emailing, right? Ito yung ginagawa ng admin. Tapos, coordination and talking to other staff, that's customer service. And then providing information to clients, that's customer service. That's part of admin as well. See now? So you might think about that. If you were, say, for example, a nurse in the Philippines, and probably say, wala akong experience yan eh. Puro ako lang sa medicine. Think about it this way. Healthcare lang ako. Think about it this way. The clients that you're serving, the patients that you're serving are your clients. Second, when you are filling in the form, nagre-report ka sa manager mo or sa doctors, and you're filling in, doing reports and managing their files, that's filing. That's administrative in nature. See now? So what am I saying? You're using your transferable skills. So if you're looking for a job, don't just self-disqualify yourself and say, I don't know anything and I don't have anything. Right? So keep that mindset when you're looking for a job. Right? Explore titles. Because you have skills. That's why it's important to assess. Self-assessment is important. Now, the next thing, let me move on to the next. Trying the use of hashtag. The use of hashtag in social media and job search. Ginagamit na ba yan lahat dito? Oo. So, for example, if you use a hashtag plus, let's say, teacher, lalabas yan sa Google. It's more focused. And I'm going to talk about all of this later. Tinapos ko na lang muna to, and then I'm going to show you and illustrate with you live so that you know what I'm talking about. Now, they're all in blue because I'm not able to discuss all of this kasi masyadong marami. Later, probably I'll have a chance to discuss about LinkedIn and Twitter in your job search. But they are all linked to the subjects or to the topics, right? But the most important thing is the use of the hashtag and the @ sign. Yung ganun. Ano ba yung @ sign? Igrit ng tag doon. Right? You use that when you're looking for jobs. Here are some of the common or popular hashtags. General job hashtags, we have job search, Canada jobs, job hunt, career chat. Specific sector, so if you want to do DevOps job, for example, you're in IT, software engineer and so on, you want to put the hashtag before that and you will be able to see some of the job postings. Let's look at this later, right? Job seeking hashtags as well, job advice, job fair, career advice, career coach, CV. Merong hashtag at the beginning, right? So before we go to this one, let me illustrate with you in a sa ano na lang para makita nyo yung ibig kong sabihin. Let me share my screen. New share. So this is what I'm talking about, right? So if you're saying you're looking for administrative assistant, for example, assistant jobs Toronto, for example, it's gonna show all of these things, right? And you will see now here that there are about 100 more jobs, right? If I click on this one, okay, if I click on this one, it will show that all of these jobs came from different, like this LinkedIn, there's Charity Village, there's all sorts, right? But if I go back and I click on this one, it will show again around 760, right? You would see there's 837. But if I do this, for example, I want to add here, right? And I want to do that. Then it's going to focus only on administrative assistant, top 20 administrative assistant in Toronto, Ontario. Then this is from Monster. It comes from Monster. But it's more focused, right? Ayan, top 20 specialist jobs. Nakalagay dyan, 524 administrative assistant jobs in LinkedIn. So it gives you where, right? So that's the use of the, it is a placeholder. Pero pag nilagay ko ng ganito, plus, right? Jobs plus Toronto. I don't even have to put the that sign, the quotation sign, right? Okay. And I would still have, for example, in Indeed, let's see, I have 751. Right now it has 798. Now I want to use some of these filters. I go to advanced search. So you can use this one, or you can use the advanced search. So maybe I want to add maybe administrative assistant, or with some words, support or reception, maybe I put that in. What I do is, I don't worry about, if I'm not worried about the types, what I'm gonna do is exclude staffing agencies. At this point, I don't want to add in staffing agencies, okay? And I want to do 25 kilometers, and then I want to do 15 and display 10. So if I do this, what's going to happen is there are only 3 jobs. See now? Naging meron sa dental office sterilization, naging focus na, naging more specific. Merong administrative coordinator and administrative assistant. So I open that. That's $18 per hour. And now we have the so on and so forth. So if ito yung mga tip pag naghanap kayo ng trabaho, kaya ko bang gawin to? I'll ask yourself if you can answer calls. Have you provided administrative assistance, scheduling, and so on and so forth? So ito yung mga hinahanap na. If you look at the administrative coordinator, almost the same, kaya lang it's with the international school maybe, kaya may manage inbox. Masyadong marami, but it's still the same. Right? And if I look at this one, ito naman sa dental office. So different titles, pero similar ang roles, kaya lang different naman ang industry. Right? But what if I just do it this way? If I go back, for example, from the first search that I did, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take out support. I'm just going to do administrative assistant, reception. Or maybe you could say administrative. Or maybe you could say office clerk. You will see na masyadong marami itong lalabas, right? I left it the same, find jobs. And you will see that there's 434 jobs, you see? But when you use this, and maybe you want to do not all jobs, but let's say exclude 25 kilometers, I would probably say office clerk, maybe reception, if I do that, for example, or maybe you put a skill. MS Office Suite, right? You do that and you now have only 4 jobs. So there's facilities clerk, accounts payable clerk, and legal. So again, this will help you. Okay, that's what I mean by being more specific with your job searching. Okay, now, for example, I want to look for a job and using hashtag. Sabihin ko mechanical engineer. Mechanical engineer plus SolidWorks. Plus job. Oh, by the way, plus I usually like to use plus. That's the something that I really something that I really like. It's my favorite, right? So engineering SolidWorks jobs. And you now have 64 jobs. So you will come with mechanical engineer, junior design, mechanical engineer, and so on. Lahat na ito may mga SolidWorks. But if you don't want to add SolidWorks there, lagay ka ng minus. Ibig sabihin walang SolidWorks, pero plus sa Toronto pa rin, and you click that, walang SolidWorks usually. Dapat walang SolidWorks yan, minus. Usually they put minus. Let's see. See, oh, by the way, notice educational skills, technical skills, Microsoft Office, Word, and but then they have SolidWorks and CAD, right? Usually, when you want to put minus, that's supposed to work, but I'm not sure why. In this case, it didn't work. But for the minus, that's why I don't normally use the minus. I just use plus instead. Okay, so that's in terms of searching for jobs online. Okay, let's move on. Let me go back to my other window. Any questions so far? May tanong ba? Okay, how are you liking it? Masyadong maraming information, right? Okay, next. So next one is applying via, so tapos na tayo naghanap ng trabaho. Let's say, nakapaghanap tayo ng gusto nating trabaho. Now, what are we going to do in terms of mag-a-apply na tayo. Pag nag-apply tayo, ito yung mga tips, right? Here are some of the tips that you can use when you are applying for jobs. Okay, so applying for jobs via the Easy Apply, okay? Or, so when we say Easy Apply, nag-iba na ngayon ang Indeed. And ang Indeed dati, lagay mo lang yung application mo. It asks you to go and apply immediately. But now they ask you to enter your information. So Easy Apply button. And the other one is Okay, so you apply using the easy apply in Indeed or easy apply page, right? And the other one is applying in the company portal. You want to apply directly to the company portal. Pag nag-apply ka sa company portal, so A, apply easy apply stage, at saka applying in the company portal. So what do you need to do when you apply to the company portal? You want to read the instructions in applying to the websites. You want to create a profile, and they will ask you to upload a document, right? And they will ask you to answer questions because it might have an applicant tracking system. So that's the difference between the easy apply and the company website. I'm going to give you an example. In this, I'm going to show you an example of this one. Let me share my computer sound. And welcome. This is my invited speaker for tonight. Earlier, there are two ways of applying to a job posting if we want to apply through the internet. The first one is using job search engines, and this is an example where we use the easily apply link. So one is when we, for example, the Health and Information Privacy Officer, if I click easily apply, all I have to do is, this is when I'm ready, all I have to do is apply now, hit the apply now. And of course, we fill in the information and we choose a file, and we have the message to employer, which is the cover letter. Then we just hit continue and everything goes, and that's it, right? Now, the other way of applying is also going directly to the company website. It's also a good thing to go to company websites because we will also find out if the company is legit or not. In this case, I went ahead to the company website, and I found the Join Us portal. And if it brings you to this site, it gives you an information as to how to apply and the application process. When we go there, we would find out how they are hiring people and what's the process of application, right? And in this case, we saw Health Information and Privacy Officer. If I click this, it gives me more information about the position. And then I apply now. If I'm ready, I click apply now, and it brings me to this link. So if you notice, it's almost the same as Indeed. The only thing though that's missing with the Indeed and easy apply link is the following questions. So you have your name, your email, you want to select a file, a cover letter, and a resume at the same time. And then it asks you several questions, which is one way of filtering candidates. It's a very simple tracking system that the company uses to filter candidates. And then you hit submit. See, if you went on and applied from the easy apply, you won't know that there are different parameters or configurations that employers have set in order for you to apply for the position. So that's an example of two ways of applying, either through the company or through the easily apply link. Wait. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so that is, do you have any questions regarding this one? So those are the two ways of applying. One from the from the Indeed or Monster or maybe Glassdoor, and the other one is applying directly in the company website. So the most important thing is, for me, I suggest to apply directly in the company website or go to the careers website of each company kasi mas focused ang pag-apply doon. Mas specific. Minsan kasi pag nag-apply ka ng Indeed, nagiging filter pa yung Indeed. So minsan pagka nagpunta ka sa company, titingnan mo kung kanino mo isasubmit yung resume, kung paano mo isasubmit ang resume, right? So yun yung dalawa. Now on the third thing though, letter C, is answering pre-screening questions within the company portal, the careers portal. So yung careers portal nila, yun yung kanilang, yung join us, yung ganon, yung when you apply there, you wanna be careful when you're answering questions kapag meron silang questionnaire, because it means that this is their way of filtering candidates, especially if you have not answered I would say you were not able to satisfy the questions and the answers that they're looking for, then you might be disqualified for that. So you won't go further, right? So set a time to answer questions. I know for a fact that, for example, if you apply for Walmart, ang Walmart, even if the job is sales associate, right? Ang job is sales associate, yung mga nasa floor, mga tumutulong. You go through so many questions. Merong silang pre-screening questions, may testing. Oh, I sat down with one of the clients and we were applying, I helped her apply for a job in Walmart, and she was applying for a sales associate. Ang daming questions, and in the questions nung tiningnan ko, they are already like interview questions. So you want to set an ample time and give yourself so that you give yourself enough time so that you will be able to write down the answers in a way that is that they're expecting, right? Something that they really would like and expect from you as an answer. Just you be careful to answer the questions using SAR. So when I say SAR, you use situation, action, result. Ibig sabihin, ito yung technique, ito yung structure that you can use. So I know I'm saying a lot of things here, but later I will talk about SAR. And SAR is, even in interviews, even in writing resumes, you use the SAR technique, or the PAR or the CAR technique. It's the same. Situation, action, result, a challenge, action, result, or problem, action, result, right? So this is the way when you're answering questions. I'll give you an example later. So read the job description carefully. Basahin niyo mabuti yung job description. Pag hinahanap, sabihin sa job description, in this role, this person will be dealing with clients, specifically calling, incoming calls, receiving and transferring calls, mga ganon. So that's basically sa telephone, right? So how are you going to match your skills with that? So, and then you're gonna then answer the question: in what way have you transferred calls, for example, right? Or how did you deal with a complaint from a client? May question na yan agad it's like an interview stage. And they're all pre-screening, right? So be careful when you are answering questions. Pagka nag-apply ka sa portal ng company, but sometimes pagka nag-apply ka sa Indeed, minsan hindi mo nakikita yan. So you lose on a particular role when you're applying if you don't go through the company website. Another one is, be mindful that companies use pre-screening questions. I think I told you this one already, right? So the next one, of course, is when you are applying for jobs, meron tayong tinatawag na black hole. Right? Meron tayong tinatawag na black hole. And when we say black hole, this is when you're sending applications. Minsan sasabihin niyo, ang dami kong sinend na resume, 100 resumes na, 30 resumes, walang sumasagot. Hindi ako sinasagot. Now, okay, this is just a tool. Remember, resume is just a tool. Applying online is just a tool. The most important thing is for you to develop networks, contacts, right? I cannot stress this enough, because sometimes if you have contacts inside the organization, especially if they really know you, they might be able to help you with your application in terms of hindi nila sabihin na, oh, i-hire mo na siya sa ganito. It's not about that. The thing is, they will not influence the hiring person, but at least somebody can vouch for your skills. Yun, right? It's not about asking the person to hire you. It's more about call this person for an interview, right? Did you want to have a break time? It's 7:16. Magba-break ba tayo? 5 minutes? How are you guys feeling? Yeah? You want to have 5 minutes break or diretso na? Okay, let's have a 5 minutes break, and then we'll go, and then we'll continue, okay? I'll be back. What time is it? 7:16. I'll be back at what time? 7:21? Okay. I'll be back at 7:21.
Okay. Okay po, Miss Jane.
Oh. Okay, I'm back. Is everyone back yet? Thank you so much. I was able to have my bio break. Get a bio break. Kung may mga tanong po kayo, please feel free to jump in magtanong lang kayo. Or if you want to wait until the workshop is done, that's fine too. I hope that you're getting some stuff getting more information or some information that you haven't known before. So let's get things going, okay? So earlier, sinabi ko na we have what we call a black hole, and yung black hole na sinasabi ko is what we call the applicant tracking system. Then according to JobScan, 500 Fortune companies today, especially with the onset of pandemic, are using an applicant tracking system. So what is an applicant tracking system? So within the North American context, okay, dito, and even in the States, and even in other countries, they're using now an applicant tracking system. Ano yung applicant tracking system na yan? Yan yung nag-filter ng inyong application, or it filters your resume. So what happens is if you send a resume online, it doesn't get through because meron nang nag-block. So let me show you what is meant by this one. So only 75% of the people applying for jobs and sending the resume is going through or getting through the next, not necessarily the next stage, but the resumes go through because of some tricks that they use, right? So I would say 25 to 30% of the candidates are not getting through the applicant tracking system. So this is what the these are some of the applicant tracking system out there that are available. If you have seen Taleo, Workday, Connecta, Browsing, ICIMS. So ang Taleo is the largest in its yung share, right? Yung market share, Taleo ang leading. And the next one is Workday. So this is not the most recent one, but Workday and Taleo are nagko-compete. And also there's what we call the Greenhouse. Greenhouse is also an applicant tracking system, and also companies have their own applicant tracking systems, right? So what does it do? Let me share. Let me share with you this video, a little explanation of what an applicant tracking system is.
System, but the reality is it is like,
So
there's a way to beat it too. There is a way to cut through, and most people are making lots of mistakes about it.
I want to talk about those ways to get past the system. Just to be clear, we're talking, when we speak about applicant tracking systems, about a piece of software. It's not actually some mechanical robot.
No.
Yeah,
a lot of people probably think it's like some robot AI system, but the reality is it is like usually a cloud-based software tool that sits in the browser that you would access as a manager, and you'd see all the candidates that are applying for your positions, and you could put job postings out there, and it's a really nice tool. I recommend most employers have it, but there's a good way to use it and a not so good way to use it.
Well, how about use? Are most companies today using applicant tracking systems, or is this something that you find at big corporations, or small companies using them too?
Yeah, I mean, it's all companies are really using them. I don't know the exact number, but I think enterprise level organizations are most certainly using them. But small businesses are really starting to use them now too, because the cost to have these tools on a subscription model is affordable now. And I think people are realizing that we're spending way too much time on basic administrative things. And so now herein lies the issue that we have. It's not really an issue. It's the fact that we have this great tool. Now we need to make sure that we're finding the right candidates, and we're not filtering out ones that would actually be a good fit for our organization. So it goes both ways. There's issues.
okay. So that's just a little introduction of what the applicant tracking system is. This is a very, very recent podcast that I got in 2020. And so it was actually done during even after the onset of the pandemic. It was around May that this was recorded, right? And you will meet him again later. So let me move on. So what does an applicant tracking system do to your resume? So what happens is a candidate sends in a resume, right? And so once your resume is sent in, it goes through a certain parser, a filter. So it parses your resume. So there is a parser that, or it's a sort of a computer program that parses or divides your resume into certain characters or certain relevant components, I would say. So it breaks it down into recognizable text or strings, right? Or characters for further analysis. So it breaks it down into education, contact information, skills, and work experience based on the recruiters or the company's employers' needs, right? So for example, if a recruiter or an employer is looking for a marketing analyst, for example, then they would be looking specifically for the word marketing analyst or coordination. So if your resume matches their needs, the skill sets that they have used in the parameters, then you go by certain relevance and by points or percentage. So the more relevant you make yourself and your resume towards the job posting, the more opportunity for you to get called for an interview or to move on to the next stage. So relevancy is the key, right? You're scored based on relevancy, right? So that is the purpose of the applicant tracking system. Now, how do you determine that a company is using an applicant tracking system? So first is you need to go to the company website and check their company if they're using an applicant tracking system. I will show you this one in a few minutes. Now, you want to check their URL. You go to the website, find out if the company in the company careers portal, right? Remember the ones that I showed you earlier, yung mga different applicant tracking systems out there in the market, it should show in their URL. You want to link on the job posting or portal and you will see SAP, Taleo, it will come up. Once you receive also an automatic email, if you receive an automatic email, it means that this company is using either a simple or a complicated. Whether it's simple or complicated, it's still an applicant tracking system. Yung bang naka-receive ka ng no reply email, yun. Right? Meron silang ganoon. Tapos, pag sinabing, oh, we have received na email, ibig sabihin it's an applicant tracking system. And when you need to fill in an online application form. Right? So I'll give you an example. UHN, I'm going to go to the website later and I'm going to show you what UHN. UHN is a network of hospitals in Toronto. There are 5 hospitals that is connected with UHN. So that is the main website. When you still go to the main page, nakalagay UHN, right? And then until you go to the careers page, UHN. Once you go to the career page, nandoon ka na sa mismo may mga job postings, nakalagay doon recruitingsite.com, CSB sites. Ibig sabihin, this is they have an applicant tracking system. This is where you send. It's a portal that you go to, right? So, so I'm going to show you an example of, let me see if it's, yes, I'm going to show you an example of this one. Share with your screen to show you what I am talking about. So I went to UHN network. And when I went to UHN network, okay, I typed that, right? This is the company portal. UHN is a network of hospitals, Toronto Gen, Western, Toronto Rehab, and Missioner. So actually, if you go to their careers, so notice this one, see the word, my mouse is blinking, right? If you go to the careers, okay, and then you go, so the first thing that I do, so it's still there. The first thing that I do is I go to, of course, career opportunities. Ang ginagawa ko, binabasa ko muna how to apply. This will tell me, it's always a no-brainer for everyone. Parang it's not rocket science, right? The first thing you need to do is to kung meron sila, find out how you apply. In this case, Sabi dito, on the first page, you will be asked to identify yourself, copy. Okay, take note, copy and paste your cover letter and resume. So hindi mo i-upload. Ika-copy and paste mo yung cover letter and resume mo, and then you answer some online questions. That's on the first page. And then click submit at the bottom of the page, and you will be redirected to a second page where you will attach a formatted copy. So you need to be able to understand what is in between the lines, right? Don't just go and apply. So if I go back to career opportunities, see, notice that UHN pa rin nasa taas, ano? Pag pumunta na ako sa career opportunities, kita nyo, naging recruiting site na siya. Now, porque hospital ito, hindi ibig sabihin na wala siyang engineering jobs, wala siyang computer jobs, maraming IT jobs kasi they go by this division, research, corporate foundations, and so on and so forth. See that? So if I, for example, just may mga categories as well, right? And there's also other ways. So I'm just going to do search for now. See, it's still recruiting site. Now I'm going to go and say, if you notice, they have their own. Maybe let's say clerical assistant. Let's say clerical assistant. Okay. So number one, when you're applying for a job, see to it that you know what the number, the title, okay? Kaninong department. Sometimes hindi nila nilalagay. May mga company na maliliit, hindi nila nilalagay. Full-time, 37.7.5 hours. Dito sa Canada, we have what we call Employment Standards Act, is ESA. I hope I have a chance to discuss that later. Meron tayong tinatawag ni ESA, Employment Standards Act. Rights at saka workers' rights at saka human rights. Where may mga violation of these things, the human rights supersedes yung ibang rights. So ESA, in the Employment Standards Act, ang allowable number of hours to work is, of course, 35 to 40 hours, right? But then, if you go on, you're allowed to go overtime for 48 hours. Kaya lang, for additional 8 hours. Kaya lang pag lumabas ka na, umabot ka ng 50 to 60 hours, you have to talk, mag-uusap kayo ng employer mo kung pumayag ka. Kasi that's not usually allowed. But you have to talk, kung pumayag ka, okay lang yon. Kasi ang bawat employee dito sa Canada has the right to refuse unsafe work. At saka has the right for training. Right? Kaya binibigyan kanila ng work safety WSIB training, OHSA training. May mga ganoong training to protect the rights of the workers din. So that's why you want to identify kung ang full-time is, of course, 35 to 40 hours. Ang part-time is below 30 hours or 35 hours. Anyway, then your salary grade. Ibig sabihin, pag may salary grade ito, tingnan nyo kung pag unionized or non-unionized din yung company. I'm thinking that this might be unionized, right? Okay, look at the position overview, qualifications, 3 years community college from an accredited program study of recognized equivalent. When you're reading this, you would say, but kaya lang ang education ko is outside Canada. Hindi naman ako nakapag-aral dito sa Canada, so hindi naman recognize ang documents ko. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na WES, World Education Service, or ICES, or other educational service, so that your documents are recognized in Canada. For nursing, of course, it's a different case. For architects and engineers, it's a different case. But for all other, you can still use WES just to see if your diploma or your degree is recognized in Canada, right? But if it's not necessary, you don't have to, okay? Another one is, of course, yung may mga certification, but dito nakalagay asset lang. So, ibig sabihin, pag asset, it's okay, still apply. Ibig sabihin, hindi mandatory, okay? Look, 1 to 2 years related experience. Now, when you say related, what does related mean? Related means related to what are to all of these ones. So if you have you have done all of this, that means related experience. So probably you would say, but I don't have experience at all. Okay, remember, you can always transfer your skills, right? And relate it to this particular job posting. And then the ending ng job posting and so on. Now, when you go and apply, huwag kayo matakot. Just click mo lang apply na ganyan, makikita mo. Ito yung sinasabi nila na you have to go through different questions that you have to answer. Then this is where you copy and paste your cover letter. You want to copy and paste your resume. Carefully. Read this. It says, recommended format is plain text. Pasting information in other formats documents may result in less readable file. Why? Because this one is going through an applicant tracking system. This is their applicant tracking system. So if you're sending a resume, that is a PDF file or a Word file, it will not work here. So you need to save your resume in a plain text file, okay? And that's why I always recommend you to save your documents in either PDF, Word, and plain text. Because in this case, especially if you're going through an applicant tracking system with the government especially, you need to use a plain text file because of the readability of your documents within the system. And then there's a question, are you authorized to work in Canada? Yes or no? Then you'll give you, are you on work permit, and so on and so forth. So ibig sabihin, this company is accepting people with work permits, open work permits as well. Right? And how you heard about this, and then look, when you go down, look at all the skills. Are you knowledgeable in these areas? Remember the skills gaps that I was saying to you? See if you have some gaps. Tapos tatanong nila, what are other skills? Kung ako maglalagay ng skill dito, I go back to the job posting and identify what skill they need. Yun ang ilalagay ko. And then I'm going to add my proficiency in years. So for example, I have facilitation skills. I put facilitation and I would say last 2 years of experience and so on. So you want to put those skills that are very, very relevant to the job. So that's about applying through company portal, applying through applicant tracking system, and identifying the skills and making your resume updated based on the needs of the company. Very, very important. Okay. So that is in terms of the applicant tracking system. So how do you target your resume? And that's the reason why, a lot of resumes don't go through the next stage, because they are not targeted towards the job and they are not made to get through the applicant tracking system. Okay, so that's how it is when you're applying. So what do you do? How to target your resume to ATS then? So the first one is you want to start with the format, right? You want to format your resume based on the applicant tracking system. So how do you do that? So no photos, no images. So in Canada, we don't put photos, images, because kasi yun, ang premise nila kasi yung ayaw nila magkaroon ng discrimination. So walang photo or images in any picture or any picture sa resume. Stay away from templates, right? You want to stay away from logos, graphics, or colored fonts. There's no borders. Huwag maglagay ng borders or lines, right? Yes, you're creative, pero you want to take away those things. Especially if you're an engineer, you'd rather use a portfolio. Do not put your contact information inside the header. Kasi pag nilagay mo siya sa inside ng header ng Word, hindi mababasa yan. Formatting trip-ups. Do not use sans serif or serif fonts or like Times New Romans. It's better to use another kind of font. I'll show you what that font is later. Font is not less than 11 para hindi masyadong maliit. Do not use PDF or Word document unless, okay, the word is unless specified by the employer. Pag ang employer sinabing you can use PDF file here, then you can use a PDF. But if not, I would rather revert to the plain text format, okay? Do not use justification margins as well, and never put the dates on the left side. Kailangan mauna. For me, when I'm writing a resume, I always go with the position, the date, and then the company after the job title. What do you need to do? You want to use fair Arial fonts, 12 and 11 font size, and plain text or Word document, right? Unless specified, you can put it in PDF. However, some PDF files, be mindful that some PDF files are not readable. Okay, and use left justification margin. So this is an example of some of the formatting trip-ups. No pictures, no, nandiyan yung picture. No lines, wag na lang ng line. Walang boxes na ganito. Okay, no boxes, na colored boxes. Just black is okay. Then you want to use just in the career, call it experience for experience, or call it education for education. Take out the blue lines, right? Those are ang tinatawag na border lines. Walang borders, no borders, right? So this is just an example of how you would not format a resume. Okay, and I would go for a chronological resume all the time. So keep it simple. Work experience for work experience, education for education, black fonts and plain paper, right? And then review your grammar and spelling, of course. So how do you save it in plain text? You want to go to save as, save your name, the job title, and the given. So when you're saving your document, right? Usually when you save a document, nakalagay dyan, Jane Mendita resume or 002. Say Jane Mendita, that's the name or the title of the document, the name of the document, Jane Mendita resume, administrative assistant, and then the job ID. So that immediately they can recognize that that resume is for that particular role. So you're already targeting your job, your resume based on the role, right? Then you could use, of course, plain text from the drop-down menu. So this is an example. I know it's too small, but this is an example of a plain text format. Let me see. Let me see if I have a resume that I can show, but I don't think I do have a resume that I can show. An example of a plain text format. Okay, let me just give you an example. Give me a few minutes, just a few seconds. I'm just going to go to the resumes with plain text format so that you have a better resume plain text. Oh, I don't have it. Okay. 1 second. 1 second, just a few more seconds. Okay, so I have a plain text format that I can show you. And so let me just take off the name of this person, right? So that you will see how it looks like. Okay, so let me share this one, screen 2. So you have a bigger view. So this is a better view. So this is an example of a plain text format. Nakaganyan na. Hindi siya na yung formatted. Ito yung pumapasok sa resume. But what I will do, of course, is, see, corporate communications, yan yung number, summary of qualifications, the technical skills. What I will do is bring this over here, right? Like that. So ibig sabihin, and it doesn't, pagka nag-plain text kasi puro ano yung bullets, magiging asterisk na lang, right? Okay, and then I'm going to put all the dates on this side. So this date should be on this side. So that's how it looks like. Okay, so this is what a plain text looks like if you are applying for jobs. So if you need help with your resume, we will talk about that later. There is, of course, another, you know, it's one workshop after another, but it takes time, right, to do a resume. So the next step is, this is how it looks like in the applicant tracking system. It's really it's kaya nga sabi ko plain text kasi nasisira din yung inyong Word file or PDF, right? Tapos nakita niyo naka-yellow, yun yung mga hinahanap nilang words, right? Okay. So now, step 2 is to analyze also the job posting. So the first one is, of course, the formatting. Step 2 is to analyze the job posting, right? And your first clue is looking at the keywords, okay? So I'm going to give you an example later. Tailor your resume contents to each job posting. So you have to use exactly the terminologies that they're using in the job posting. Wag lang kung anong job, you want to use exactly what they need. Right, so this is a sample job posting. Tapos ito yung ginawa ko na piniliitan ko, and then I'm gonna move on. And this is a This is a tool that you can use. You can use the job scan to scan your resume. So I'll give you an example how the job scan works, okay? So job scan is a tool, libre lang to, you don't have to buy it, okay? And then hindi ako nagpa-plug ng product, marami ibang product. So what does it do? You get your resume and you scan it through using this one. It's just a tool that you use, okay? I'm not plugging, it's a tool. There are other tools, but this is the most, ito yung my favorite tool, my favorite tool that I use. Okay, you go, you wanna clear the right side, each of the sides rather, the boxes of this tool, and then on the right side, you want to paste the job description and the job requirements and all the things about the job, right? So let's say, for example, I pasted a resume here that is closely matched to the job posting. What happens is it gives you a match rate of 88%, right? So that means that I match my resume exactly based on the job posting. So makikita mo kung ano you will be able to see what is missing, right? See that? So all of these words were in the job posting. You see that? Okay, flexible, reliable, yun lang ang kulang. But what if I update this and let's say, for example, it's the same job description, same job, but I did not target my resume. Look at how it will look like. So I put that. I enter again a resume that is not targeted towards the job posting. What happens is, look at the match rate. So it's only 27%, right? Ang match rate niya. Because you did not target your resume exactly, and then you will have the missing skills, right? Look at that. So matching a resume to the applicant tracking system is another thing that I would like to share with you later. If you want to talk about that, we'll talk about that later. But I think I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna show you some of the videos about how to match your resume, because that's another whole thing with this one. So that is how you apply for jobs. So we talked about how to search for jobs. We talked about how to match your resume, how do you call this? How to apply for jobs. And the last one is we talk about the importance of matching your resume to the job posting. So ibig sabihin, there is no one size fits all, right? There's no one size fits all. Ibig sabihin, if you're applying for a certain particular role, right, you want to change your resume based on the role all the time, because no two roles are exactly similar. I'm gonna go on ahead, and because it's 7:48, I'm gonna move on to I won't be able to discuss this with you, but I will okay, so this one we have what we call one more strategy, more than one strategy, right? Applying in the company website is just one strategy. Another strategy would be, of course, your networking. You want to attend workshops, you want to talk to people, because this is just one way of applying. There are other strategies, but what I showed you are the most common ways of targeting your job search online, especially ngayon, saan kayo maghahanap? You want to be very, very focused when you're applying for jobs online. I'm going to share with you what our guest speaker again shared. So I'm going to play and I'm going to show you one more video later. So let me go to around. You will have this. I hope that I'll be able to give all of this to you.
Do like people who have a room to develop. And I think that's what I'd want to get across to a candidate is don't be scared that your qualifications don't match even 80%. I would say, like, if it feels like a right fit, I would say go for it. And there's a way to showcase yourself to make it look like you're a good fit. But it also has to be a genuinely good fit. You don't want to get into a situation where you're not going to last.
And how do you showcase yourself to show it's a good fit? You mentioned the cover letter. Talk more about that and maybe other opportunities that a candidate has who might only have 70-80% of the qualifications.
Mac, you're probably seeing this quite a bit, but especially with younger folks, they are looking for a great work experience. They're looking for values alignment. And so it goes both ways. Employers want to find people who are going to be a good culture fit and not just literally the perfect skill set. They want both. And candidates want that as well. They want to be able to work for an employer that shares the same values as them. So I'd say that the cover letter is an important piece. You want to be able to talk about why you're going to be a good fit and why you see the world the same way that they do. And I think for a hiring manager, they're going to eat that up. If it's got to be genuine, though, it will be teased out in an interview for sure.
We've talked about filling out online forms. We've talked about the cover letter. Often applicant tracking systems almost always ask for a resume. Do you recommend customizing the resume?
I recommend customizing every aspect of the resume and cover letter. Will people go through the hoops of doing it? I don't know. I mean, I've seen people who...
Why does that help an applicant to tweak the resume?
Shows them that they went through the effort and that they genuinely want the job. I've seen people submit the exact same resume, exact same application for 5 different jobs in the same organization. And that just, to me, seems lazy. I don't know what your feeling is on that, but to me, it means that you didn't go through the effort, and maybe you're doing that for other employers as well. So I don't like it.
I've talked to job seekers who sincerely do that because they think, well, if I apply for a large enough number of positions, eventually I'll get a call.
The law of large numbers.
And people believe this authentically. What would you say to a listener who's following that strategy? I think that's going to work.
It possibly could work. If you're blasting them out, you're bound to hit on something. It's no different than like what I do in email marketing. Like you send out 10,000 emails, you're likely to get a sale or two from something you send. What I would say though is if you think it's a perfect fit, like you remember going to college, right? Filling out an application. How long did it take you to fill that out? Probably a couple hours, right? You had to customize it. You had to write an essay. You can't write the same cookie cutter essay and send it to every college. It's the same with job seekers. You really have to put a lot of thought into it. And it comes through. People will sniff it out.
Okay. So 2 things that Brandon was talking about here. He was talking about a cover letter. Aside from the resume, you want to write a cover letter all the time. Even if they don't ask for a cover letter, that is your way of explaining and showing your skill sets and also explaining things that are unique about you. And usually this will also set you apart, right? When you have a cover letter. So always write a cover letter. To me, I always want to write a cover letter. That's just my recommendation. If they say in the job posting, no need to write a cover letter, fine, well and good. Don't have to, right? But I always say, write a cover letter. And finally, let me show you. And he talked about the applicant tracking system. He said, do not self-disqualify, still apply even if you don't have 80%, but see to it that you are also targeting the terminologies that they're using. So the best way is, meron kasi tayong terminology sometimes sa Philippines that might be different from the terminologies that they're using here. So for example, I used to apply as a facilitator and I keep using the word teacher, teacher, teacher. I realized that the reason why I'm not being called is because I'm not using the word facilitator. So I changed from the word facilitator, from the word teacher to facilitator. And finally, I got the call, right? So I've gone through the hoops of applying for jobs as well. And I realized that there are really some techniques, and some of these techniques I did, right? And it helps. Now I'm going to share with you this one. This is very, very good. Neurals and yes, this is a very good website. And finally, I am going to share that with you just to give you more. And I really like this because this guy is from ZipRecruiter, and he's the president or the CEO of ZipRecruiter. This one. Oops. Hold on. Not this. My bad. Not him. This guy. Okay. Just give me a few minutes. It's gonna play soon. I think my internet's a bit slow. So it's just buffering.
So it's like asking the old Willie Sutton joke, why do you rob banks? Well, that's where the money is. So why do you do hybrid? Well, that's where the money is.
That's just an advertisement. Okay.
Ian, with so many people out there looking for jobs, how do I set myself apart from them as a candidate? What do I do from the beginning of the process with the application and the resume to get myself noticed?
Well, there's 32 million people who are currently either unemployed or underemployed. So this is definitely a great question. And my number one piece of advice for all these job seekers is simple. Look at your resume and make sure it is in a modern word processing software and it is following the simplest template possible. 70% of resumes that are submitted are read by a robot or software before they are read by a human. And you need to get past that hurdle in order to get in front of a human to even be considered. So these softwares, they're not perfect. So the simpler you can make it for the software to articulate where you've worked and for how many years, what skills you have and what your relative experience level is, the more likely that you're going to actually get in front of a human.
The 70% statistic is fascinating. Could you just expand a little bit more on just the way those algorithms work and just the importance of wording your skills and what you've done the right way?
100%. So if you're looking at your resume, a lot of companies have non-standard job titles that don't match what the most common way of describing a job is in an industry. So you want to be really thoughtful about what the job title is you choose to put on your resume. You can always explain if you get to the interview that you modified your job title to make it easier for them to understand what you did. In an ideal world, and to give yourself the best chance of success, you're going to want to make your job title match precisely the job title that they're asking for in the job description. Same thing goes for the experience and skills that you have inside your resume. You want to try and match the job description as much as possible. You don't have to be perfect. Do not self-disqualify if you only have 3 of 7 criteria. Most employers write a wish list, not a requirements list.
Okay, so there are let me just share the last screen. So that is about what we have. I'm going to stop there now because it's almost 8 o'clock. So if you have any questions, thank you so much. Feel free to ask questions. I'm not sure how long you want to stay, but if you have some questions, please feel free to ask questions. That's about job searching online. There's a lot, there's more to it, but these are just the basics, right? Any thoughts? Thank you.
The floor is open for questions. Kung may mga questions po tayo, you can either raise your hands or write your questions sa chat box po natin. Anyone?
Gising pa ba kayo? I hope that even if you're I hope that if you're looking for a job, I hope that this workshop was able to open your eyes in terms of how people look for jobs within the Canadian context, right? And even globally. Now, I want to tell you that really this is what's happening kasi meron din akong kaibigan na HR dito. And I've met with a lot of people who are also hiring and managers who are hiring, and usually this is the system. Now, the other thing too is you got to get to know people, right? Because it will help you. Kung may tanong po kayo, magtanong na po kayo. May katanungan kayo.
Miss Jane, may concern kanina dito si Aiza, although hindi siya part sa job searching, pero probably we can give advice on Aiza.
Aiza, sa SILPIP, right? Sa Ielts? Is that what you're asking?
Yes po.
Oo. Okay, unfortunately, I won't be able to give you a lot of information about this one because this is SILPIP. The only thing though is because when you want to find out, you want to check into I think the most important thing is for you to Google kung I go to the Canadian immigration. Do you go to the Canadian immigration, the IRCC? Do you go to that website?
No, not yet.
Okay, go to the IRCC because they do have, okay, let me show you my IRCC. Every time you ask questions regarding these things, go to the IRCC, right? Because they are the ones giving the most updated information kasi sila yung official, okay? And when you talk about SILPIP and so on, syempre maraming, so IRCC, ang IRCC falls this one, Immigration, Citizenship. This is the official website. So this is the only thing that I could share in terms of, this is the official website. So ito yung sinasabi nila na new pathway to permanent residency for over 90,000 essential temporary workers, nandiyan dyan, and international graduates, right? They have just released that. Now, if you want to ask about, and then they have the eligibility requirements within the policies. And then if you are asking about the SILPIP, you can find it here as well. See, there are other links. So this is something that I suggest you go to. I'm going to put it in the chat because lahat ng questions ninyo will be answered through this one. So if you could go to that, that would be the best. So, and I had also a friend who was asking about Ielts, right? Or SILPIP, and they do have it here as well, right? This one, I think this is what you're asking for, right? And they would have all of this one, and they will give you all of this. And I'm not really sure where, but I'll try to find out where you could get your SILPIP or CLB. With CLB, of course, that's not the requirement. They do. What I would suggest is probably you can ask the Kababayan Multicultural Center so that they could provide you with the SILPIP and the Ielts. I'll try to find out where, because I don't have that that information. Another information I could share with you would be if you have gone to this website. So that's one website. Here's another website. Settlement. So if you find this one, this is very important. Settlement.org. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat box. Right, you will find all information about education and legal services and all of the services, completing IRCC applications, and all of this information, employment, education, and all the necessary information you need in terms of this one. Okay, I don't want to direct you to private Ielts because it's just that it's not my, may mga private na agencies, but I would rather go to Ielts directly if you go to their website, right? So this is where you want to be, right? If you're asking, thank you for your patience as we work to meet increased demand. The reason why there's an increased demand and sabi mong mahirap na mag-book at this time, it's because they opened it now. So lahat na ngayon ng mga temporary workers, of course, are all booking. It's the same way when you're booking for yung COVID vaccine. Ang hirap ngayon mag-book. Walang mga booking because with na 90,000, isipin mo, lahat sila mag-apply for SILPIP, for sure. Magkakaroon, mahirap mag-book, right? So there's always, you want to study the trend, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, any other questions? Thank you so much, Isa, for the question. I hope I'm sorry I wasn't able to give you an exact information about that, but at least you go to the websites for this one, right?
Thank you, Ma'am. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts?
Any questions po? Wala na ba?
Wala
Parang
na?
Miss Jane. So, ano na lang po, Miss Jane, parang any advice na lang po or any like message sa mga participants natin, parang yung gist ng session natin.
Okay. So if you're looking for a job and you're still not clear kung ano yung job na pwede niyong pasukan, it's always good to sit down with an employment counselor or a career counselor to give you a more I would say targeted approach sa needs ninyo, right? Don't be ano ba yan? Wala pong bayad yung mga organizations na to, especially sa mga settlement organizations at saka yung bigay ko sa inyo yung website namin so you can also go to our website. And we also have, if you need information about resumes, right? That's another thing, at saka interviews. That's another thing we might do in the future. Pero this is our website as well. And meron kaming resume clinic if you want to know about resumes. So meron kaming sa website namin meron kaming tinatawag na resume clinic, and you can always attend workshops. The workshops namin are free. This is where you can go for resume, right? Resume clinic. So I'm gonna give it to you as well to help you. And we can also in the future probably we can discuss resume writing and interviewing, those kinds of stuff. Kasi yun po ang steps ng job seeking, right? We started. It's more in reality. It's actually a career planning. So we started with the basics, really a large one: career planning, assessment. And we also have career explorations. If you're not sure as to where to go to, we call that career exploration. At saka may mga testings. Meron tayong tinatawag na personality dimensions. Meron mga assessments, right? If you're not sure. If you want to transition to another career or you want to change careers, we can always talk. So send me an email, talk to me if you want to. I'm gonna put in my email address. So yun lang po. If you have other questions regarding job searching and so on, feel free to ask, right? And I will be sending, may utang pa ako sa POLO, yung lahat ng resources 1, 2, and 3. I'll be giving you all the resources and additional resources for this one most especially. And please, another one, if you are interested in identifying and knowing more about yourself and knowing more about careers and so on, this is a very good website to go to. It's US based, pero it's maganda kasi it will help you in terms of identifying your skills, your careers. Own it. Okay, and career cruising. Finally, it's called tinatawag na career cruising. And let me just show you all of this one now, para you have all the resources that you need. And all the resources that I have, I'm gonna share with you in the next sa email ko sa POLO. Okay, so very important websites you could go to: IRCC, Settlement, Own It, and Career Cruising. There are more, but these are the basics. Okay, so let me just stop sharing for now para... Did I? Oh, okay, I stopped sharing pala. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jane. Thank you as always sa time and expertise mo. And till our next webinar po. And this seminar po comes with a certificate. Just make sure that you will email us, or make sure that you email us with your name and your mailing address para po mapadala natin yung mga certificates ninyo. And then announcements lang po for our next webinar. Sa schedule po natin, we have on May 10, may seminar po tayo on dementia. May 15, we have information session on EI and CERB. All details po, the flyers and the links will be posted po sa ating Facebook page, Facebook/POLO Toronto, and also sa website po ng POLO Toronto, polotoronto.dole.gov.ph. And before we go po, magre-request lang po tayo na kung po pwede turn on natin yung video natin or yung cameras natin. Meron lang po tayong photo op. And Ms. Castle, help po sa pag-direct ng ating official photo.
Yep, once everyone is ready, I'll take the photo. Okay. So I'll be taking the photo now. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you, guys.
all.
Thank you. All right.
Yes.
So on behalf of the whole POLO Toronto team headed by Labat Rachel Sosobrado Nagayo, we would like to thank our resource speaker, Miss Jane. As always, maraming salamat po. And sa lahat po ng mga kasama natin ngayong gabi, maraming salamat. Keep safe, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Have a good evening sa lahat. Salamat po,
Thank
Rachel at saka
you.
Ma'am Malu.
Hi,
Thank you.
Labat.
Thank you,
Yes.
everyone.
Thanks, Ma'am Mirasol.
Thank you po. Thank you, Ma'am Malu, and thank you, everyone.
I'll leave
Thank you,
now.
Lydia.
Bye.
Happy
Bye-bye.
trip.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Message kita.